Dr. Parsi, tell us what the mood in Iran is like. Do you really think that the US or Israel, for that matter, can bring about a regime change from air attacks? Or regime change can only happen with boots on the ground?
Yeah, there is no example of regime change happening through aerial attacks. You have plenty of examples of regime decapitation, regime destruction, collapse, but not regime change. And I think it's important to understand the distinction here. Regime changes means that you change the regime into some other regime. That requires troops on the ground. That's what the United States did in Iraq. It took out Saddam and it replaced it with a different regime. Regime collapse, regime decapitation is completely different. All you do is that you destroy the existing regime. You do not make an effort to replace it with anything. In fact, you might be quite happy that it is not replaced with anything, because the chaos, the civil war that will follow is something that Israel may actually find quite useful for its geostrategic calculations. So the Israelis were looking for regime collapse, state collapse, rather than regime change in this specific scenario.
Okay. And in this scenario, Prime Minister Netanyahu would need Trump's blessing. In fact, he may need tangible support as well in the form of airstrikes or whatever. Do you think President Trump has the political appetite right now to go with Netanyahu and bomb Iran again?
I think that the appetite is limited. But once the Israelis start the attack, I think it will be difficult for Trump. He has so far not shown a particularly impressive capability of sustaining a no to the Israelis. He can say it, unlike Biden, who never managed to say it. But to sustain the no is something that we have not seen Trump do yet. And I do agree with you. The Israelis are going to have a great difficulty actually starting the war without some, at least semi-green light from the United States. I think the reason why the 12-day war or the American attack within the 12-day war ended up not being so politically costly to him is primarily because of the fact that it was just an attack. It was not a war. There was no American soldiers being killed. There was not real exchange of fire. It was military action. It was not a war. Had it led to a war, I think it would have ended up becoming very costly for Trump, because his base was not in favor of this at all. The Fox News crowd, which is different, that's the more traditional Republican Party, they were in favor of it, but they're not his base. His base in the MAGA, the key voices there, from Steve Bannon to Charlie Kirk to Tucker Carlson, were all vehemently opposed to this because of the fear that ultimately this will lead to a larger war and it won't just be a military action.